Hello YouTubers, fellow hams, RVers, whoever else happens to stumble upon this video. I'm Kevin, the old tech guy, the desert hermit this week. Out here in the desert around the Quartzsite, Arizona area. I just finished checking into the early birds net on 7185.5. Real good reports there. He said that towards the end of the net I was getting in about S9, so putting out a good signal. And I thought, I should do a quick little video. As you know from my previous thoughts on the road, I'm on a little bit of a hiatus out here in the desert. I wanted to get away from everybody. And coming down to Quartzsite was a good idea. It's a very unusual cold snap. Very unusual. It's presently 62 degrees at 8:40 in the morning Fahrenheit, which is ridiculously cool. May in this area should be getting up into the high 90s, low 100s. It should be miserably hot down here. And Kingman should be not that much cooler. But this week, much cooler. It's still getting up around 70, into the 70s. And by the end of the week, it's going to be getting up into the mid-80s. Still quite comfortable. I'll be here into the middle of next week. So I thought I'd do a quick video on my antenna setup. I left the folded dipole up in Kingman. And down here, I got plenty of room. Here's a panorama of the area where I'm at. And as you can see, there's just nobody else here. I have the whole desert to myself. And there I am parked way off in the distance there. But you can see nothing around me. Unfortunately, no supports. This would be an ideal situation to put up a huge antenna. But no supports out here, just the bushes and these stunted trees. So I did do what I could do, and I used the Chameleon MPAS kit. Now, as it comes, their manual recommends individual antenna configurations using the components that they provide for you. They provide a whip, the hybrid module, a clamp, some wire, bits and bobs. It's all pieces. Well, why do you have to do just one antenna? You've got enough parts there that with a few extra components, you can do more than one antenna at a time using the stuff that you get in the MPAS kit, which is what I've done. Let's go outside and take a look at the antenna setup on the back of the RV, and I'll show you how I used the MPAS kit to put together two antennas at once. Beam me up, Scotty. So we're outside the RV, and up here on the back corner is my antenna cluster. Let me move the camera and let's take a closer look at it. Many people have commented and asked me about my antenna setups, and I've covered all this pretty much in detail when I was building out the RV back on those early videos. So you can always go back and look at those to see even more detail. Essentially what we've got is, this is a PVC cup that I made for holding telescoping masts, and this is a little weatherproof box like you can buy at any hardware store, and this box contains a 9-to-1 un-un. On top of the box are two thumb screws. One's the output of the un-un, the other is a counterpoise, and that counterpoise wire runs along the edge of the roof line all the way down the RV for 25 foot of counterpoise for the 9-to-1. Presently, that is connected to a little bracket I made. And what's on this bracket is one of the Chameleon whips. Well, actually the whip and the extension. The whip that comes with the MPAS kit, and then the extension to make it a total of 17 foot tall. So that's hooked up to the 9-to-1 with the counterpoise as a vertical. And that covers, with a tuner, that covers 40 meters and up through 6 meters pretty well. Now additionally, on the bottom of this little box there's an SO239, and I have two coax runs from this box back to the radio desk, so I can have two antennas hooked up at any given time. And hooked to that SO239, my finger in frame, here we go, there is a coax that's going around to the ladder. And just behind that PVC cup you can see the Chameleon Hybrid. Let's take a closer look. Now here we can see the hybrid and that coax that's running up to the box there. Now it has a 30-foot counterpoise wire draping down from it that you can just kind of see going off between the ladder there. That goes down and it runs along the ground. But then hooked up to the hybrid itself, you've got this insulator, and that's tied off to a wire. And that wire is running, let's see if this thing will focus. That wire is running 126 feet across to this bush over here. So it is above the ground about 6 feet to 8 feet across the entire distance. Here you can kind of see it in frame from the hybrid up here right on across to that bush. That's 126 foot of wire. So that is an NVIS end-fed wire fed off the hybrid. And that wire tunes with the tuner from 160 meters up to 40. So the two antennas are overlapping on 40. And here we're looking up and you can kind of see the whip extending up into the sky, moving around a little bit in the wind. And as I said, it's 17 feet. So one system, the MPAS system, two antennas at the same time. Pretty neat deal. So that's my antenna set up while I'm on my little hiatus, my little break out here in the desert. And yeah, I'm playing radio a little bit. The other day on 17 meters, I worked W9AFB, a military pilot flying a C-135 at 31,000 feet. That was kind of cool. I haven't done that in a while. Years ago, I worked on 80 meters QRP. I talked to a commercial airline pilot who was flying a passenger jet to Europe, and he was out over the Atlantic. Apparently, once he gets clear of certain airspace, he has some time to kill. And same thing, I'm sure, with this military pilot, W9AFB. I'm sure that once he's between waypoints or checkpoints, he has some time to kill. And what they do is they'll dial their HF rig, if they're hams, they'll sometimes dial their HF rig down to one of the ham bands and work a little aeronautical mobile. I've been talking to some guys on 80 meters, 75 meters at night. The footprint seems pretty good. I got from here up to Middle California okay, and I talked to James just 112 miles or so north in Kingman. So the NVIS wire is working great for 75 meters. 160 was not usable last night. Too many static crashes from the storms out east. What else? There was an opening on 10 and 6 meters with the Chameleon vertical. I worked a couple of stations there and heard stations from all over. On 6 meters, I heard a Seattle, Washington station pretty clearly. He was about S9, S8, pretty steady, you know, so it's working. Yeah, with these two antennas, provided I have something to run the NVIS wire to, I can pretty much work 160 through 10 meters well enough. There's an overlap on 40, and sometimes stations are better on the horizontal versus the vertical, and sometimes the other way around. Neither performs as well as that folded dipole, though, which is still up there in Kingman, up on the mast, waiting for me to return, and I do miss that antenna. That folded dipole is one hot antenna on 40. And I'm going to make some more. I'm going to order some ladder line, and once that comes in, I've got some ideas there that we're going to experiment with. So watch for future antenna videos. So that's it. It's the middle of the week. I'm enjoying my little time off in the desert. Still playing some radio, though, and I just had to give you guys something to watch this week. I'm going to close with a little clip of something that's neat that happens in this part of the country. A little shortwave listening last night and listening to WWV, both WWV stations, Hawaii and Fort Collins, Colorado, at the same time. Hearing both WWV stations, Hawaii and Colorado at the same time, you can hear both tones, but listen to the announcements and you'll see that they're both at the same level.
3 hours, 43 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
At the tone, 3 hours, 43 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
There you go. Both of them. Hawaii and Fort Collins. The female voice is Hawaii, the male voice is Colorado. and they're both about the same level. It sounds like two people on the same microphone. That's with the Chameleon whips up on my 9-to-1 on the back corner of the RV. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.